So I am 5 days post-op, and I'm doing pretty well, I would say, from basically what I've been hearing from all of the healthcare professionals that I've talked to. I did no narcotics. So just as a reminder, I had a spinal fusion from L4 down to S1. I had two spacers in between L5 and S1 and corrected my spondylolisthesis from about a 35% forward slippage to about less than 10%. So the doctor said that I did get taller, maybe half an inch or so. We'll see when I measure myself, but when I stand next to other people, there's definitely a difference. But yeah, so like I said, I refused any kind of narcotics because of a number of reasons. And I think it also is what I can attribute to feeling little to no pain, believe it or not. A lot of the doctors and nurses that I've spoken to have been in disbelief that I'm not in back pain after this type of a massive trauma to my lower back. But from my understanding about narcotics is that coming off of them, you actually feel intensified pain. So by not having them at all, I'm a pretty firm believer in the therapeutic properties of not taking narcotics. My surgeon actually joked how un-American of me it was to not take any. I was actually surprised. I'm going to go on a little bit of a soapbox of narcotics. If you need them, take them. But I was actually very dismayed at how much more difficult it was for me to get NSAIDs and Tylenol than it was for me to get Oxy. They were being pushed on me like candy, and I'm like, no, I really don't need it. Now, with that being said, so I don't really have any back pain. I have had a lot of soreness in like my hip flexors and like my outer glutes and my thighs. And I don't know if that's just like a compensation, just like the way like I'm sitting and stuff, because I still have this like vacuum pump tube attached to my back, which actually is coming out later on today. So I'm really excited for that because leaning up against my back, I have this tube that just presses against my back. So I think it'll be more comfortable having that gone. Let's see here. So I was in the hospital for 2 nights. My surgery lasted between like 6 and 7 hours. Some of the things that surprised me that people didn't tell me about to expect post-op is how swollen and puffy I would be. As you can see, like I don't really have a round face, but my face was really round, swollen, puffy, and so were my hands. And I guess that was for just all the fluids that were being pumped in. Also, being face down, all those fluids rushing to the forward part of my body, really just shocked my family. They said that I was pretty unrecognizable when they saw me. I was, like I said, I felt great because I'm pretty sure that they did give me narcotics during the surgery. I overheard like a nurse anesthetist that talked to the anesthesiologist over the microphone, like about like methadone during the actual procedure. So during the procedure, fine, whatever, I had it, I think, but they don't really tell you that, right? Like I know about the anesthesia. Anesthesia was fine. I had told them in the past I'd had a surgical procedure and I had a lot of nausea. I did not have any nausea. They gave me propofol for the anesthesia, which is more gentle on the stomach. Let's see. When I told them that I didn't want narcotics, they asked me if they could give me ketamine. And I'm like, well, I really don't want ketamine either. I guess they just anticipated that I'd be in a lot more pain. So they wanted me to, and they said that I could like dissociate from my body. I'm like, I don't want to dissociate from my body. So I refused the ketamine as well. Like I said, I had Tylenol and they gave me Toradol, which is basically like a strong ibuprofen through my IV. And they alternated those. And then I also have Flexeril. Generic is cyclobenzaprine. So I was kind of like on a rotation of those things, and the Flexeril also helps like with the muscle spasming, relaxing the pain. One other thing that surprised me that I did not know or anticipate was going to happen was the numbness and tingling in my feet. So the left side of my body is where like it was more, my nerves were more pinched off. Um, so 5 days post-op, I still have numbness and tingling in my left foot, like part of my left foot, like the big toe, second toe, third toe, up to like the ball of my foot and to the top of my foot. Post surgery, it was all like the entire foot and up to my shin. So it is subsiding and progressively getting better. I can't completely like wiggle my toes to the full extent that I normally do, but I anticipate that getting better. Same thing on the right side, but it's just like the very tip of my toes. And it's like, it's almost there. Like I have full range of motion in my right toes, still waiting for that full range of motion to happen on the left side. But I'm optimistic that that'll come back. The doctor didn't seem too terribly worried about that. All right, so that was a surprise. Let's see what else. Yeah, so first night in the hospital, I mean, just sleeping in a hospital bed is miserable. If you've never done it before, they're small. You're kind of limited in what you can do. Like I had really a hard time like lifting up my butt off of the mattress to try to like scooch over if I wanted to roll onto one side and roll to the other. So that was difficult. I pretty much demanded that I walk that first day because basically my surgeon told me that I should. And I was very displeased with the nursing staff. I felt like they were either lazy or dismissive or placating me. And I could tell. And so that made me really mad, especially as I was like coming off of the anesthesia. And like by the time I realized I was like fully with it again, that they were still treating me this way, it really angered me. And I wanted to just get my legs moving, my feet moving a little bit. And they told me, after they'd been putting me off, telling me, yeah, we'll be there in a few minutes, we'll be there in a few minutes. And this had happened for hours. Finally, over the speaker, I said, you don't go, I'm going to go on my own. So they ended up running in and taking me on the walk after all. But you have to be an advocate and you have to be strong because they will not listen to you as the patient. You have to make it clear to your loved ones to also advocate in your favor, make it clear before you go into surgery what is important to you, what you want. Because like I said, nursing staff, they do believe they know what is best, but I also am very in tune with my body and know what's good for me. So with that, after a really bad first night, I have to say that the nursing staff improved vastly. After that, my second night was even better. And then my third night, I was at home, and I've now had 2 nights at home. And these past 2 nights have been the best sleep that I have had probably in 9 months, even with this tube attached to my back and this little vacuum pump sitting in my bed next to my head, making these kind of noises. And so what I didn't know about that, I was going to have this back. That was another surprise for me post surgery. 2 things. So in the hospital, I had a drain attached to me with like this kind of container that expanded and it collected blood. And it was, I guess, on the second day, they finally removed that because I wasn't losing as much blood in that container as I was initially. So that was another reason why I stayed in the hospital a little bit longer, was because the amount of blood that I was losing. But then that corrected itself within 2 days. And then not knowing that I was going to go home with this like vacuum attached to me. And it's to help promote healing with the wound. So supposedly later on today, when this comes off, that wound should be pretty well healed. And then we'll just put like another bandage over my back. Okay, so that was a surprise as well. What else? I've been getting along with my walker pretty well. I'm each day, like I get up and down easier. The first day home was the hardest, like getting in and out of the car to come from the hospital to come home was challenging. But like moving my foot that's numb, right? Feels a little weird, but I have full stability. Like I can stand on it, walk on it, not a problem. So basically every time that I have to use the bathroom, I use that as an opportunity to walk my house up and down the length, however many times until I'm ready to sit back down. So, and that's actually where I am right now, is kind of where I spend my days, is parked in like the TV room up in my loft. Um, what is challenging about it is that I just can't like scooch around or like lay on my side. So what ends up happening is like my butt goes numb, which is something that I didn't think about just because I'm like staying in the same spot for hours on end until I get up to use the bathroom. My family has been very devoted to making sure that they're here with me. This is actually the first time that they're not here with me. And that took like an act of God, I feel like. Um, and, their concern is right that I don't fall, that I don't hurt myself or anything like that. Also, I'm really not able to plug the vacuum pump back into the charger on my own because it requires like picking up the charger off the floor and everything. So fortunately, like it works a couple of hours without being plugged in. Let's see here. So let's move on to the other fun stuff. Another reason why I wanted to forego narcotics is that I know that it can delay bowel movements, and that's important, right, post-surgery. So the anesthesia, the propofol, and of course the narcotics that I think that they gave me during surgery slowed down my intestinal tract. So it was 5 days post-op that I was able to have not one, but two actual movements. So that was good, but there's still a lot of pressure in my stomach. So I'm still like trying to move that through my bowels. Um, Modesty goes out the window. Having to go to the bathroom, be wiped by your loved ones because you can't like twist around, bend around. There's certain things that I've gotten better with, but there's still certain things that I still need help doing. I had help in the shower. My mom climbed into the shower with me and like washed my hair for me. That was 2 days ago, so I don't get my daily shower like I'm accustomed to, but I'm hoping to get one again later tonight. Um, Brushing teeth. That's been really important to me, just as like a way to feel normalized. Wearing deodorant, things like that. It sounds silly, but those have become like really important things to me to feel kind of normal. Um, yeah, so again, I, I I don't want to tell people who are going through this that it's not painful. But I will say, like, I went into this fit. Like, I was at the gym literally the day before my surgery working out. I have a great low heart rate that shows that I am pretty physically fit, pretty strong. So, like, my strength, being able to like push my arms down to like lift myself up off of the seats. Or, when I was in the car, my mom opened her sunroof. So I was able to put my hands up above and pull myself into the car, which was actually nice. Although I don't know if I should have been doing that since I'm not supposed to be lifting. And I don't know, I guess that's lifting my body. But in any event, I found that helpful. So I would say that for someone who's not physically fit, this would be like extremely challenging. I'll tell you, just because I'm not in back pain, I would not want to go through any of this ever again. But yeah, so this is me 5 days post-op, in pretty good spirits. My mom wanted to take me on a field trip to her house. And after getting ready, I was too wiped, exhausted. We got in the car and I just asked her just to turn back around and take me home. Because I was too overwhelmed and just needed to rest, and it was causing a lot of stress in my muscles, like in my hips and my glutes and thighs. And so I went and took a nap. But yeah, I'll try to give another post soon.